It's a pleasure to be here today at the One-to-One conference. I've only got 9 minutes for this, so I'm going to run through it fairly quickly. Over the last 4 months, there's been an awful lot of change with RNC. In fact, one of the only things that hasn't changed in RNC is actually the name, and truthfully, we're looking at maybe making a name change in the near future because we're not so focused on the nickel component of our company anymore. While we still own 28% of Dumont, that's not really where our focus lies. Our focus now for the company, since I've become CEO, actually I'm chairman and CEO, I've been CEO for a little over 100 days now, has been our Western Australia assets. And my background before here, from 2012 to 2018, I was the president and CEO of Klondex for six and a half years. So let me just get into a couple important slides here that I want to talk about to demonstrate some of the changes that have happened. And what I'll really talk about in the next 8 minutes is really the changes that have happened in the last 100 days. So when I joined as CEO, we had just bought a mill, actually. We closed the mill in June. We bought this facility here. This mill was built in 2009. We paid $50 million for it. And it's really a huge catalyst that's going to change this company. Before I became CEO as executive chairman, we had only one asset that was, actually we had stopped it for a while. We'd started a drill program in it, and it's the Beta Hunt mine, where there's been a large discovery of this coarse gold. So one of the components that we were missing and a very high risk to us was toll milling, actually. Toll milling, while it can work, it's usually something that people use as a bridge and not something long-term. And for us, we were no different. We needed a milling solution, and we were very fortunate to find this mill and asset that came along with it. So for $50 million, we got this 4,000 ton a day mill, 1.4 million tons per year. It was built in 2009 for $100 million. It would have taken us 3 years to permit that and at least $100 million to reproduce that mill. We didn't just get that mill for $50 million. We actually got the Beta Hunt complex, which included in 3 categories, measured, indicated, and inferred, an additional 1.9 million ounces and 367,000 ounces of 2P reserve. So today, this company is a lot different than what it used to be. When I first took over, it was focused on nickel. Today, we're focused on gold. We have 2 mines now producing into one centralized mill. So along the way, we were drilling at the Beta Hunt mine. So one of them is an underground mine, the Beta Hunt one that had the coarse gold into it. We were drilling before the mill purchase, and we increased that resource by 400%, you can see in the top, and in the measured and indicated, and 200% in the inferred. So again, I'm trying to go a little quick here because I'm already down to 4.5 minutes. Today, presently, the company has 2 assets feeding that centralized mill, and the best numbers I can give you is our own report card. What's happened since the acquisition of the mill, and I'll go backwards, and just show you our own report card. So the first month of owning our own plant, filling it at capacity on our own, was the month of July. And you can see our numbers here were just under 8,000 ounces. And you'll see consistently for the first 4 months, that's what we've done. August, we hit another 8,100 ounces. That's feeding the mill with all our own ore. We're not supplementing it or toll milling anyone else's ore. September, 8,000 ounces. And in the first quarter, with the company owning its mill, as a maiden voyage here, 24,000 ounces. So that's a really good, healthy start as we're integrating and optimizing this plant that we just bought. The first half of the year in comparison, we did 13,900 ounces. So in 1 quarter, 24,000 ounces. And in the meantime, as we're producing, we're really aggressively focused on cutting the costs. In the first quarter of running that mill, we've managed to reduce our all-in sustaining cost by $146 an ounce, or about 11%. And let me just show how we're doing it. Actually, sorry, going the wrong way. Here's how we're doing it. So originally our cost per ton was $45 a ton toll milling, $45 to $50 a ton. We've used several mills in the area to toll treat. With our own plant, we're at $29 a ton. You can see the delta right on top. That's a $16 a ton saving. If you did some easy math, actually, when we bought this as a board, we assigned half of the $50 million to the mill, the other half of the $50 million, $25 million, towards the ounces that we got, the 1.9 million in measured, indicated, inferred. So that's an acquisition cost of about $13 an ounce to acquire those ounces. But if you go back to the mill, at 1.4 million tons per year, just use that $25 million, $16 times 1.4 million tons, it's a payback of about 1.1 years. This mill was so accretive for us, and it will forever change the trajectory of this company. And those of you who know Klondex and had followed Klondex know that this is the exact same steps that we had done at Klondex, except it took us about 2 years to get to this point. We've managed to make all these changes in 100 days. So if I look at the very top of the organization, what was our strategy? What did we do? We started looking at our shareholder base right at the global level, and we recognized that we needed to add some institutional shareholders. So we needed to do a financing early on when I first became CEO. We did an $18 million bought deal. That $18 million bought deal was oversubscribed. It attracted 5 new institutions into our name, which was very important for us. So we're starting already not right at the top with our shareholders, changing the shareholders to institutions. We've been marketing and targeting institutions so that we can put the shares into the hands of people that are going to be with us for a longer period. The second thing, we made changes to the board of directors. Our board was predominantly focused on nickel. We now have 3 people that are gold people: myself, Warwick Morley-Jepson, who was the former COO of Kinross, and Wendy Kai. So shareholders, board, the executive team. We hired Graham Sloan in the first week that I became CEO. And this is an important part of the recipe that makes our company work right now. Graham is the managing director and president of Western Australia. He runs the whole Western Australia division. And again, this is what makes it work. I'm CEO and chairman. He's running the whole operations. He's got a very decorated background. He was the former CEO of Perseverance from 2002 to 2007. He actually built the Fosterville mine. Nobody needs an introduction to Fosterville today. Most of us know it from the success on Kirkland. But Graham was he was the CEO when it was built. He's also been the CEO of Tanami and Herentia. So he has a lot of experience in Western Australia. He hired, right out of the gate, 2 new general managers. So we're putting together a team. When I started at the top, I talked about changing shareholders, changing the board, changing the executive team. I'm the new CEO. We put in a new operationals team. You can see our steps are very focused, very strategic. By the acquisition of the mill, by reducing the risk for ourselves and having the 2 operations feeding the mill. And we're going to focus continually at aggressively reducing those costs so that we can get to our target of below $1,000 an ounce. We're targeting to get our all-in sustaining cost to below $1,000. Q3 was a very good start by reducing it down by about 11%. Our work, we have it cut it out for ourselves, but we're on track next year to no longer be an exploration company, but to be a producer between 90 to 100,000 ounces a year, again, focused at cutting our costs. So a huge change. I know I'm out of time here, but I welcome any questions. We're at booth E11. Please come and see us. We'd gladly answer anything because there's a lot more to tell. It's difficult to come up in 8-9 minutes and talk about what we've accomplished in 100 days. It really doesn't give it a lot of justice because we've done quite a bit. Thank you very much.